Mousson's creation. Mousson's work is an integral part of Slovak fine art in the first half of the 20th century. It developed during the period of searching for the national art, but the painter himself did not programmatically address this issue. Solving his own artistic themes without accepting the context offered by social and cultural development, it was not marginal. The artist's activity can only be divided into three phases. First period, after 1911. The starting point of his work is the presentation of academic realism, which gradually replaced the inclination to open-air painting. Its principles were communicated to the artist during painting stays. Second period, years 1919 to 1929. Even before that, around 1915, the characteristics of the author's work were a realistic documentary interest in the landscape and urban or village views. The painter was also important for the second half of the 1920s, a time of fresh, bold and dynamic genre compositions of summer and autumn markets. Third period, 30s of the 20th century. This phase was originally referred to as crisis in creation. It is reflected in the color and composite overexposed works according to the taste of customers. At the same time, it was a period of emotionally colored family figural compositions and portraits. A specific feature of Mousson was genre painting. Warm colors, light summer. He became famous mainly for his southwest motifs from town markets and villages around Michalovce. That is why he has the adjective painter of the Zemplín sun and people. Furthermore, a primary school was established in Michalovce, which was named after Mousson. Some of his most famous works. Analysis of the artwork. The artwork is an oil painting on a thicker linen canvas. There is a continuous layer of a thin chalk base with a color oil layer on the canvas and is thinner in some places. This oil painting displays the atmosphere of the market in the square, and that was the author's favorite theme. The picture looks pleasant and clean. It is laid out of areas and spots of light tones. In the background of the painting we can see a white church with a dark tower, in front of which there are figuratively depicted figures and green trees which form clusters of spots of light and dark green color. In the foreground there is a figural composition of 8 figures in period clothes. The man in a hat is walking beside the woman dressed in a white dress, a yellow apron and a scarf on her head. The stall, with a pointed great wide roof, covered by the shadow of a tree, is depicted next to them. The people sketched by color are standing next to the stall. On the left there is a woman with a man standing in the shade of a tree. They are out of picture, which is indicated only by darker shades of clothing and a stall. The woman is dressed in a white and pink dress and the man is wearing a black hat and ochre coat with a red-blue scarf. An old man in a brown hat and ochre coat who is leaning on a stick and watching a couple of women in the center of the image is in front on the right side. The women are dressed in white dresses and have white scarves on their heads. The woman closer to observer is holding a canvas ochre basket. Both women have more significant facial details than the other figures in the picture. They are shown in motion, buying hands from a saleswoman who is squatting on the ground on the right of them. The saleswoman has on a white blouse and a turquoise white skirt and bonnet. We can see a knitted ochre-brown basket placed in front of a saleswoman, and 4 hands of brown and white color can be seen next to her. The spaciousness and brightness is clear in the picture. The author displays the movement, and there is also a significant plasticity of the image, which is reached by the game of light and shadow. Theodore Joseph Mousson was a distinctive and extraordinarily sensitive artist whose life was truly remarkable. Theodore graduated from Hungarian schools and he worked in education for many years. He moved to Michalovce as a young teacher. From then on, he lived in Slovakia. He lived in Michalovce, the heart of the Zemplín. He was a passionate admirer of local people and nature, the beauty of which he even promoted beyond Slovakia's borders. During his studies at school, where traditions of late Romanticism and Academicism were still present and painting in the studio was preferred, he mastered anatomy and technique in an excellent manner. His paintings are full of people in typical folk costumes, motifs or craft fairs, holidays and local villages and towns. Thanks to this, in addition to its outstanding artistic values, his work became a distinct testimony of life at that time, which did not last forever. Full of bright colors, passionate and calming, and amazingly sensitive, it became an impressive chronicle of the life of various social classes and especially of the life of ordinary people.